This tape was recovered from the remains of a local television transmitter on November 9th, 1993. The label on the reel reads, Archive STNBRK. The following footage has not been edited or altered. What you're about to see was broadcast only once, before the signal went dark. It begins like any other local broadcast. A cheerful anchor introduces a segment about community events, but the longer you watch, the more it feels wrong. People smile, but their eyes don't follow. Their shadows fall in the wrong direction, and behind them, something moves, where nothing should be. The second clip shows a dinner party, home video, laughter, music, warmth. But in the corner of the room, a television displays the same scene. From a slightly different angle, the television shows the same people, the same gestures, but the timing is off by just a few seconds. When the camera turns away and back again, the furniture has changed. The people are smiling at something that isn't there. For one frame, a face presses against the glass. It doesn't belong to anyone in the room. The next segment is a public service announcement. A police officer instructs children how to stay calm in emergencies. He reads from a cue card, but halfway through, his mouth stops moving, and the voice keeps going. He's looking somewhere just beside the camera. Behind him, the posters on the wall are changing. Faces turning, eyes following. Then the tape cuts to a test pattern. The tone is steady, but underneath it, there's breathing, slow, rhythmic, human. The next clip is black and white. A quiet neighborhood. A single man in a reflective vest walks past the camera. He kneels and touches the pavement. When his hand pulls away, there's a perfect circle of water left behind. He looks at the camera, but there's no face, just static, shaped like a person trying to remember how to smile. Then a familiar voice. The anchor from the beginning returns, smiling at the desk. His microphone is missing. His tie is gone. The lights behind him are out. He leans toward the lens and says very quietly, "You found it." The rest of the tape is silent. An empty hallway. A camera left running. The clock on the bottom corner shows the same minute repeating over and over. Nothing moves until something finally does. A tall shape walks past at the far end. Slow, deliberate, distorted. The air seems to bend around it. The camera's audio catches a single word. Not yet. And then, the broadcast returns. The anchor sits in a dark room, holding the test card. His voice trembles. "If you see it, do not look away." The camera zooms out. He's surrounded by dozens of small TV screens, each one playing a different part of the tape. On one of them, you can see yourself. Watching, end of transmission, tape corrupted. If located, do not broadcast.
When I was a kid, there was a TV channel that no one else seemed to remember. It didn't have a number. You couldn't find it on the guide. You had to flip through static, slowly, until it caught on something that shouldn't be there. It didn't have commercial or logos. Just this strange off-color tint, like someone filmed it through water. And every night, around 2 or 3 a.m., it would start playing old cartoons, except they weren't quite right. I recognized the characters, the ones I used to watch on VHS, but their faces were wrong. Eyes too wide, colors washed out. The sound, always a little delayed, off by just milliseconds. It made everything feel alive in a way it shouldn't have been. One night, it played something called the Sleepy Town Parade, stop-motion animation, like the specials from the 1970s, plastic-looking children, marching down a street, holding balloons that looked wrong, not rubber, something else, organic. Their faces didn't move, but their mouths twitched between frames. You could see something underneath the clay. A voice narrated, softly, almost like a bedtime story. Every night, the children gather for the parade, so they don't forget. The longer I watched, the more I realized the camera wasn't showing a show. It was showing a real place. The background, Too still. The sky, real. The lighting, changing, like sunrise. Then it cut. The next scene. An empty playground, swings moving, on their own, breathing, close to the microphone, and a child's voice whispered, "We found another one." After that night, the channel was gone. My TV, just static, whenever I tried to tune back in. But a week later, I started hearing that breathing, not through the speakers, but from behind the TV. I stopped sleeping with it on. Yet, sometimes, when I scroll late at night, and the algorithm shows strange analog clips, static, abandoned commercials, lost tapes, I swear, I see frames from that parade again. And the comments always say the same thing. I thought I was the only one who remembered this. The last time I checked, someone replied to my comment on one of those clips. Their profile picture, a still from the show. It said, "You were." When I was 12, my parents bought an old VHS player from a thrift store. It came with a single tape inside a plain white case. No label, nothing written on it, just the tape. The tape looked old, scratched, edges yellowed, but something about it called to me. I took it upstairs to my bedroom, slid it into the player, and pressed play. The screen flickered, static. Then an image slowly came into focus. It was my bedroom, or a version of it. The furniture, slightly different, posters on the wall, colors I didn't remember. The window, wrong. The street outside, too still. No wind, no leaves moving. Then the camera moved. It wasn't mine. Low to the ground, gliding silently, capturing floorboards, creaking as if someone was walking, though no one was there. And then I saw myself, sitting at my desk. Only, I wasn't me, my face, pale, almost wax-like, eyes too wide, staring straight at the camera, my mouth twitching unnaturally. A voice, soft, distorted, whispered through the VHS audio, "You've been found." I froze. My stomach turned, but the tape didn't stop. It continued, panning around the room. Next, the hallway, shadows moving behind the doors. Not human shadows, long, thin, bending, impossibly. They weren't black, not gray, like smoke, made of something solid. Then the camera cut to the attic, my parents' attic. I had never gone up there, the door always locked. But on the tape, the door was open. Inside, dozens of small TVs, stacked high, each showing a different view of my house, my street, even my school playground. And on each screen, a version of me, sitting, standing, walking, frozen in time, always watching. I could hear whispers now, faint, overlapping, dozens of voices saying my name. The tape paused on one screen, my backyard, and I saw it, a tall figure, featureless, standing behind the chain-link fence, slowly, moving toward the camera, its limbs stretched too long, bending unnaturally. Its shadow didn't match its form. The tape flickered. When it resumed, the figure was gone. Only one thing remained, the sound of breathing, steady, calm, right behind me, as if it were standing in my room. I tried to eject the tape. The player wouldn't budge. I yanked the cord from the wall. The screen went black. For weeks, I didn't mention it to anyone. I didn't sleep well. Sometimes, I would hear soft static in my room, like the VHS was still running, even when it wasn't. Years later, I tried to find the tape again. I looked everywhere. The thrift store didn't exist. My parents didn't remember the player. When I tried to replicate it, recording my own bedroom, trying to capture the same angles, it never worked. But sometimes, late at night, I still see it, in the corner of a reflection, in a TV turned off, a pale version of me, sitting at a desk I don't remember having, watching, waiting. And if I close my eyes too long, I can hear that voice again. Faint, insistent. You've been found.
When I was a teenager, my town had an old public library, the kind of place that smelled like dust and varnish and time. Everyone said it closed at 8 o'clock, but I discovered if you walked through the back entrance, the lights stayed on long after the doors were locked. I don't know why I went back that night. Maybe curiosity, or maybe something was calling me. The hallway was too long, fluorescent lights flickering overhead, casting long shadows. That didn't match the walls. I passed the fiction section, rows of books, all of them older than me. And yet, some titles looked like they were written yesterday, in handwriting that felt familiar. My handwriting. Though I had never written a book in my life, I turned a corner and found a single door at the end of the hall. Plain wood, no sign. I opened it. Inside, rows upon rows of desks, each with a small green lamp. Every desk had a person sitting at it, only they weren't reading. They were staring at the wall. The wall was a massive mirror. And in the mirror, I saw myself. Only I wasn't sitting at a desk. I was walking through the library watching them. I blinked, and suddenly I was at the back of the room. The people were gone, the desks empty, but the lamps were still glowing, and the mirror was no longer reflecting the room. It showed a street I recognized, my street, but it was empty. No cars, no animals, no wind, just houses, frozen, and the figure of a child, standing at the edge of the sidewalk, staring straight at me, even though I wasn't there. I heard whispers, soft, overlapping, like the library itself was breathing. Then a page turned, from one of the books on the desk. Alone, I approached it. The page was blank, except for a single word, written in letters that weren't mine, but somehow I knew them. Stay. The lights flickered, and the library seemed to stretch infinitely. Every book now reflected something else. Every mirror showed another me, standing somewhere, waiting. I ran, down the hall, past rows of books, past corners that twisted impossibly, trying to find an exit. But every door led me back inside. Finally, I stumbled outside. The night was quiet, my breath visible in the cold air. But when I looked back, the library was gone. Years later, I pass that street. Sometimes, I swear I see a faint green glow, flickering in an empty lot, like a desk lamp from a place that shouldn't exist. And sometimes, at night, when I'm alone, I hear the whisper of a page turning, soft, insistent, calling my name, stay.